Hey there everyone, Hitesh here and welcome to another video, another visit on this keyword. This video is going to make much more sense if you have watched the previous video where we talked about this keyword, and if you are skipping around the videos, it's not going to make much sense. So just don't post in the comment section, I didn't got it, because you skipped the video, not my fault. So let's go ahead and talk about this keyword. We already got a brief introduction about this keyword and what it contains and how the empty object and window object looks like. We're going to take a step further ahead, and I would like to clear up your confusion. I know you have coded in JavaScript or probably not, but this keyword creates a little bit of the confusion because what it contains, is it containing the window object or is it containing the object that I have defined? That's the biggest confusion. And I'm going to get rid of this confusion by just one line of statement. So let's just go ahead and talk about this. This is the simple line. For all regular function calls, this points towards the window object or global object, or in the case of Node, the global empty object, whatever. By the term this window object, I simply mean to say whatever the global object is, this is where this keyword is pointing towards. Again, just remember two things. Regular function calls means window object or whatever the global object is. So just keep that in mind and you're gonna never get confused in this keyword. So let's go ahead and let me try to give you a couple of examples here. So first and foremost, we go ahead and try the log here. So we simply say this, and this is the best way to find out without writing any code that what actually this contains. So I'm gonna go into Node, I'm in 03 and this one is 15th file. So it gives me an empty object in the case of this, and we will be going back and forth onto our browser because yeah, I want to run this one on the browser. I usually don't like to run my code on the browser, but yeah, this is just an exception. So what we're gonna do, we will be copying and pasting the code number of times to see what actually it is. So if I just go ahead and run this code, no exception, it gets me the global object, which is window object in this case. In the case of Node, it's an empty object because obviously it makes sense in the case of Node. Now let's go ahead and write a little bit more. Let's just say we're going to define our favorite user again, and we're going to define just bare minimum few properties up here. So this is our object. Let's define some of the property. I'm going to simply say first name, and I'm going to assign a name. I'll also say that I'll say course count, and that's going to be 4 maybe. But things get interesting when I say I want to have a method that says get course count. There we go. Now I want to make it a method. Okay, no problem in that. We have already seen how that can be done. There we go. Your method is available. Now here I can simply say that return this dot course count, because I know inside in here, this is pointing towards this object, but it would be really amazing if I just first go ahead and print out what this actually contains when I'm inside an object. So I'm going to just add a simple thing here. I'm going to say line 7 because I want to know where my printing is happening, and we just want to print this keyword here. Okay, we're going to run this code 2 times, one in the console itself, so we don't really get scared when these kinds of output comes up when you're working in Node, Angular, React, Vue, whatever other things you want to put in. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, I forgot to actually invoke it, so we need to create it. So we're going to say user.get course count and run this. Okay, so we are now running this method. So let's go ahead and run this. So first we get the empty object, then we say line number 7, and notice most important thing is we are actually getting this entire object as a reference back. And it makes sense 100% because this holds entirety of this object, and that is the reason why I can say this dot course count, and I'm able to get the access to that particular value. Okay, what happens when I run this exact code onto the browser? Again, no surprises there as well, as long as you keep this line in mind. For all regular function calls, this points to window object. Let's go ahead and clean this up, paste the entirety of the thing here and run this. So first time console.log this gives us a window object, again expected, and the line 7, it again gives me the same thing. It gives me access to the entirety of object, and definitely a bunch of other things like proto and stuff, which we are not going to talk here. In case you have taken up my other courses, we definitely have talked a little bit on that, but that's another day. Okay, now most important thing you need to understand is we are calling this method, which is inside an object, by get course count. this doesn't get counted as a regular function call. Okay, so what does a regular function call looks like? A regular function call, just to give you an example, is something like when I say hello like this, and this marked as a simple function. This is a simple function. And when we are having something like this, when I say log and I say hello, this is a regular function. And whenever there is a call to this function, like say hello, this is a regular function call. When I use user.getCourseCount, this is not a regular function count because this is called through an object. This one here, regular function count. This one, nope, that's not how it is. Okay, I hope you got that. And based on this, some confusion actually arrives. For example, if I go inside this getCourseCount, which is technically a method, I come back here and I define something like this function, and I say hello, just like this. There we go. And all it does is it says hello, maybe. So we're going to simply say log, and it just says hello. Now I come back here and I say hello and go like this. Okay. Now the most important confusion that comes up here is something like this. When I say I want to log, and I'm going to put up a line number as well. I'm going to say line 10 and this. Now this brings the confusion that if this kind of situation arrives, what this keyword is going to contain. And a lot of time people say that this keyword is going to still contain the entirety of the object, which is not true, because notice here, this is a regular function and this is a regular function call. So according to our just only one rule that we have studied for all regular function calls, this points to window object. Just remember this rule. And notice here, is this a regular function? 100%. Is this a regular function call? 100%. So what's this going to contain? Window object. Let's go ahead and run this and try to see what is happening here. So let's go ahead and clean this up. Run this again. And if you notice, first and foremost, we get this empty parenthesis. Line 7 gives us this entire object. And then we get a hello because this is being called. And then in the line number 10, we get again the object global, which is whatever is your global object. I know this is a bit confusing to see up here, so I'm going to move this entirety of the code on the browser because in this case, it's much more easier for me to teach on the browser. Very rare case. Notice here, first gets a window object because of the first line, console.log this. Then we get at line 7, we get first name, basically the entire object, user object. And again, in line number 10, we are getting back this window object. So this sometimes confuses that people that whenever there's going to be an object, whenever you're going to call this is always going to point towards this object, which is not true technically according to our definition. This is true. This means this is going to give you back the object if that is an object call, not a regular function call. So I won't be making much more here. I won't be talking much because the more you talk about this subject, it might become very, very confusing. So this is a subject which you should take a little bit lightly and you're going to get always right all of that. Now, again, if you're wondering, hey, where this kind of scenario appears when you write the functions just like this, all the time. And that's where the confusion appears. So there we go. Now you get really the confusing part. This is the most confusing part about this. And if you think, yeah, that was a breeze, just notify me a thanks on the Instagram because it is not that much easy to understand. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe and I'm going to catch you up in the next video.